Riya, a young professional, was thrilled to find an apartment in Mumbai with such a low rent. It seemed too good to be true, but she couldn't pass up the opportunity. The place was small, with only the bare essentials: a bed, a table, and a single window that overlooked the bustling city. Yet from the very first night, something felt off. The shadows in her room moved in ways that defied logic. At first, she thought it was just her imagination, but soon it became impossible to ignore. The shadows seemed to shift and slither along the walls, watching her with an unsettling intensity. Each night they grew bolder, creeping closer as if they were trying to reach her. Determined to understand what was happening, Riya began investigating the apartment's history. She spoke to neighbors, searched online, and even visited the local library to dig into old records. What she found sent chills down her spine. The apartment had a dark past. Previous tenants had mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only their belongings. The locals whispered about a curse, a malevolent spirit bound to the building. As Riya delved deeper, the shadows in her apartment became more aggressive. They no longer stayed on the walls. They manifested as ghostly figures that whispered her name, filling her dreams with horrific visions of her own demise. Desperation set in as Riya realized she was trapped. Whenever she tried to leave, the shadows would block her path, dragging her back into the apartment's darkest corners. It was clear that she needed to confront the source of this curse. In a final terrifying confrontation, Riya faced the spirit, a towering entity of darkness and despair. The battle was intense, with the shadows lashing out at her, trying to pull her into their world. But Riya, fueled by sheer willpower, managed to push back the entity, believing she had finally broken the curse. Exhausted but relieved, Riya prepared to leave the apartment for good. The shadows had vanished, and the room was eerily quiet. However, just as she was about to step out, she noticed something strange. Her own shadow was behaving oddly. It no longer mirrored her movements perfectly. Instead, it seemed to have a life of its own. With growing horror, Riya watched as her shadow turned towards her, its eyes glowing red with a malevolent light. A twisted smile formed on its face, leaving Riya frozen in terror, unsure if she had truly escaped or if she was now bound to the darkness forever.